Jack wiped the sweat from his brow as he finished tending the small cornfield behind his farmhouse. The twin suns of the planet were setting, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple. It was quiet, too quiet. Jack liked quiet, but tonight it felt strange. As he stacked the last crate of harvested corn, a faint sound made him stop. At first, he thought it was the wind rustling the leaves. Then he heard it again, a soft, high-pitched cry. "Hello," Jack called, his voice low but steady. The sound stopped. He frowned. The farm had been his home for years, and he knew every noise except this one. The cry came again, this time a little louder. Jack's heart beat faster. It didn't sound like any animal he had ever heard. He grabbed a lantern from the shed and moved carefully toward the edge of the field. There, near the tall cornstalks, he saw something small moving. A little figure crouched on the ground, shivering. As Jack stepped closer, he could see her clearly. She was not human. Her skin was pale with a faint blue glow, and her big black eyes looked at him with fear. She had long, thin fingers and a small frame, no taller than a human child. "Please, don't leave me," she whispered in a voice so soft Jack had to lean closer to hear. Jack froze. He had heard stories about the alien empires, about their warriors and spies, but he had never thought he would see one up close. And here, crouched before him, was a small child alone and terrified. "Hey, it's okay," Jack said gently, keeping his hands where she could see them. "I won't hurt you." The girl's eyes widened, and she shook her head. She held something close to her chest, something shiny. Jack could not tell what it was. She looked hungry, tired, and scared. His heart ached. Jack knew hiding an alien child could be dangerous. The Empire controlled this planet, and anyone caught helping their kind could face serious punishment or worse. But looking at the little girl, he felt a surge of responsibility he could not ignore. "Come on," he said softly. "You can come with me. You'll be safe there." The girl hesitated. Her big eyes scanned the fields as if she expected enemies to appear from the shadows at any moment. Then, slowly, she stood up and followed Jack toward the farmhouse. Inside, Jack led her to the small barn at the back. He pulled an old blanket from a crate and wrapped it around her. She sank into it, shivering, and clutched it tightly to her chest. "What's your name?" Jack asked. She did not answer. He tried again. "Do you have a family?" She shook her head, her eyes filling with tears. Jack felt a lump in his throat. He had never been one for children, but something about her made him want to protect her. "It's okay," he said. "You're safe here for now." He looked around the barn. It was small, dusty, and simple, but it was hidden from the road. It would be a good place to start. Jack went to the old cabinet and grabbed some water and a piece of bread. He set it near the girl. She looked at it with suspicion. Her stomach growled, and she slowly reached out. She ate the bread, her hands trembling. Jack watched quietly, giving her space. After a few minutes, she looked at him again, her black eyes full of fear and confusion. Jack knelt beside her. "Don't worry, I'll help you. No one will hurt you here." A sudden noise outside made both of them jump. Footsteps, quick and heavy, passed near the barn. The girl grabbed Jack's sleeve, her small hands tight. Jack's mind raced. Was it the Empire soldiers, or just an animal? He could not take any chances. "Stay here," he whispered. He grabbed his old hunting rifle and stepped outside, peering into the fading light. The field was empty. Only the wind moved the cornstalks. Jack exhaled slowly. "For now," he whispered, returning to the barn. The girl looked up at him, eyes wide and scared. Jack sat beside her. "We'll figure this out," he said quietly. "But you must stay hidden, okay?" The girl nodded, hugging the blanket closer. Jack could hear the fear in her soft breathing. He knew this was just the beginning. Somewhere out there, someone was looking for her, and now they had a human who would not give her up. And Jack was ready to fight. The barn was quiet, except for the soft sound of the alien girl's breathing. Jack sat on the old wooden crate, watching her wrap the thin blanket tighter around her small frame. The glow from her pale blue skin made the dark corners of the barn look even darker. Jack knew he had little time. The Empire's patrols were everywhere. If someone reported seeing her, the consequences could be deadly. Yet, he could not leave her alone. He reached out slowly, trying not to frighten her. "Do you understand me?" he asked softly. She shook her head. Words meant nothing, but gestures seemed to matter. Jack decided to try another way. He grabbed a piece of paper and a pencil from his pocket and drew a simple picture of a house. He pointed at the drawing and said, "Home. You live here. Safe." The girl tilted her head, curious, then pointed to the floor of the barn. She drew a quick symbol, a circle with lines around it. Jack had no idea what it meant, but he nodded encouragingly. "Okay," he whispered. "We'll figure it out together." Jack went outside and closed the barn doors quietly. The night air was cool, carrying the faint smell of the forest. Somewhere in the distance he heard a howl of wolf, or maybe one of the Empire's creatures. He shivered but forced himself to calm down. Fear would not help them. Back inside, the girl was crouched in the corner, hugging the blanket. She finally spoke a word, a soft, trembling sound. "Ma, Ma." Jack's chest tightened. She was calling for her mother. The thought made him feel protective. He could not let anyone take her away. Not now, not ever. He moved closer and sat beside her. "I'll help you find your family," he said, keeping his voice steady. "I promise." The girl's big black eyes stared at him, unsure. Then, slowly, she reached into her small bag and pulled out a strange object, a tiny glowing crystal. Jack gasped softly. He had never seen anything like it. The crystal pulsed gently, casting soft shadows across the barn. "What is this?" he asked. The girl shook her head. She pointed at herself, then at the crystal, then at the sky. Jack realized it must be important to her people. Perhaps it could help them find her family, or maybe it could lead danger straight to them. Suddenly, a loud knock echoed through the barn. Both Jack and the girl jumped. Jack grabbed his old rifle and moved toward the door. "Who's there?" he called. No answer, just the creaking of the wind against the wood. Jack frowned, uneasy. He had learned long ago that silence could be louder than words. He peered out through a crack in the door. Nothing. The field was empty. He turned back to the girl. "We have to be careful," he said. "If anyone finds you, they'll take you away." The girl nodded. She pressed the crystal against her chest and hid under the blanket. Jack sat beside her, thinking. He could not stay in the barn forever. They needed a plan. The night passed slowly. Jack kept watch by the door, and every sound made him tense. Somewhere outside, he heard distant voices, soldiers, probably. They were far enough not to notice the barn, but Jack knew it was only a matter of time before they came closer. At dawn, he decided to teach her a few basic signs. He drew simple symbols on paper: water, food, farm, safe. The girl watched carefully and imitated him, using tiny gestures with her fingers. Jack smiled. It was slow, but they were learning each other's language. Then, something unexpected happened. The girl pointed outside the barn, toward the field. She ran to the window and looked out, her eyes wide. Jack followed her gaze. At first, he saw nothing. Then, a shadow moved near the edge of the trees. A figure, tall, silent, watching. Jack's heart skipped a beat. "They found us," he whispered. The girl grabbed his hand tightly. Jack looked down at her glowing eyes, filled with fear. He knew he had to act fast. Hiding alone would not be enough. They needed a plan to escape if the Empire came for her. Jack made a quick decision. "We're going to stay hidden," he said. "And if they come, we run. Can you do that?" The girl nodded, gripping his hand even tighter. Jack felt a strange bond forming between them, stronger than fear, stronger than danger. Together, they would face the Empire, no matter what. Outside, the wind whispered through the cornfield, carrying secrets Jack could not yet understand. And somewhere in the distance, The Empire was watching, waiting, ready to strike. Jack knew one thing for sure. This little alien girl had changed his life forever. And the fight for her safety was only beginning. The shadow in the trees did not move, but Jack could feel its presence. His heart pounded. The alien girl clutched his hand tightly, her small fingers trembling. He knew they couldn't stay in the barn any longer. If the Empire had found her, hiding was no longer safe. "Listen," Jack whispered, crouching low. "We have to leave, now." The girl nodded silently. Her glowing blue skin seemed to brighten, as if she understood the urgency. Together, they crept out of the barn, careful not to make a sound. The tall cornstalks brushed against their faces, and every rustle made them jump. Jack led her toward the forest behind the farm. He had walked these woods before, but never at night and never with someone depending on him. Each step had to be careful. Each shadow could be a danger. Suddenly, a rustling came from the underbrush. Jack froze. A creature, not human, not fully alien either, stepped into the moonlight. It had 4 legs, sharp claws, and glowing eyes. The alien girl gasped and hid behind Jack. "It's okay," Jack said softly, holding his rifle loosely. "I don't think it wants to hurt us." The creature tilted its head, curious. Then, as if deciding they were not a threat, it turned and disappeared into the darkness. Jack exhaled slowly. "Good. Keep moving," he whispered. They moved quickly but quietly through the forest. The girl stumbled once, and Jack caught her, keeping her close. "Almost there," he said. "Stay close to me." After a few minutes, they reached a small clearing. Jack stopped and scanned the area. Somewhere in the distance, he could hear voices. Soldiers, definitely looking for them. The Empire had sent troops. They were close. Jack looked at the girl. "We need to hide," he said. He spotted a hollow under the roots of a giant tree. It was just big enough for the girl to fit, and he could cover the entrance with leaves and branches. "Go," he whispered. She crawled inside, clutching her glowing crystal. Jack covered the entrance with leaves. He stayed nearby, rifle ready, watching the forest edges. The soldiers' voices grew louder. Jack could see their lanterns bobbing through the trees. He knew they had to act fast. One wrong move and they would be captured. Then, the girl did something unexpected. She held out her crystal. Its glow brightened, sending a pulse of light into the dark forest. Jack blinked. The pulse startled the creatures in the woods, sending them scattering. Even some of the soldiers paused, confused by the strange light. Jack's mind raced. Maybe the crystal could help them. Maybe it was more than just a toy. It could be a key to keeping her safe. "Follow me," Jack whispered. The girl emerged from the hollow, and they ran. Branches scratched their faces, thorns tore at their clothes, but Jack ignored the pain. They had to get away. The forest opened into a narrow valley. Jack led the girl down a small path that twisted between rocks and trees. The soldiers' lanterns were visible now, moving slowly but steadily. Jack knew he could not outrun them forever. Suddenly, a river blocked their path. The water was fast and cold, and the girl froze. I can't," she whispered. Jack knelt beside her. "You can. I'll hold you." He picked her up carefully, on my back. "Hold tight." She wrapped her arms around his neck, trembling. Jack waded into the river, feeling the current pull at his legs. The water was icy, but he did not stop. One step at a time he pushed forward. On the other side, the girl gasped and clutched him tighter. Jack smiled, even though he was exhausted. "We made it," he said quietly. "But we're not safe yet. We need to keep moving." They continued through the night, hiding whenever they heard voices, running whenever the forest allowed. Jack could see the girl growing stronger, more confident. Her fear was still there, but she had begun to trust him. Finally, they reached a cave at the base of a hill. Jack peeked inside. It was dark, damp, but safe, enough for them to rest until morning. He carried the girl in and laid her down gently. "Sleep," he whispered. "Tomorrow we plan our next move. They won't catch us if we stay smart." The girl's eyes closed slowly. Her glowing skin dimmed as she drifted into a light sleep. Jack sat beside her, keeping watch. Outside, the Empire soldiers searched the forest, unaware that their target was already beyond their reach. Jack smiled to himself, though his heart still raced. The first escape had worked, but he knew this was only the beginning. The Empire would not give up, and neither would he. Together, they had survived the night, and together, they would face whatever came next. Morning light filtered through the cave's small opening, painting the walls in soft gold. Jack stirred quietly, careful not to wake the alien girl. Her breathing was steady, and for a moment, Jack allowed himself to hope. They had survived the first night. "We need supplies," Jack whispered to himself. The girl opened one glowing eye, then slowly sat up, clutching her crystal. She understood. They could not survive on their own forever. Jack led her down the hill toward the nearest village. It was a small settlement, with wooden houses and dusty streets. Villagers were beginning their day, tending animals and cleaning doorways. Jack tried to stay calm, blending in as best he could. The girl stayed close, hiding behind him. She was small, almost invisible if one didn't look carefully, but Jack could feel her fear. The villagers were human, but she had never seen them before. They could be just as dangerous as the Empire. They reached a small market. Jack bought some bread and water with the little coins he had. The girl watched every movement, her black eyes scanning the people. She did not eat yet. Her trust in Jack was growing, but she was still cautious. Jack felt a tap on his shoulder. He turned quickly. A villager, an older man with a thin mustache, smiled politely. "Good morning, stranger," the man said. "New to our village?" "Yes," Jack said carefully. "Just passing through." The man nodded, then glanced around. "Strange times these are. The Empire is looking for someone, I hear. Best be careful who you carry into your home." Jack's stomach tightened. The Empire always seemed one step ahead. He smiled politely. "Thank you for the warning." But as they moved through the streets, Jack noticed something alarming. Whispers followed them. Villagers glanced nervously at the girl. Even with her small size and timid demeanor, her glowing skin could not be hidden forever. That evening, Jack and the girl found a small abandoned shed on the outskirts of the village. It was not perfect, but it was safe for now. Jack set the supplies inside and motioned for the girl to eat. She took small bites, her eyes darting to the door. Suddenly, Jack heard hurried footsteps outside. He froze. The alien girl tensed beside him. Jack peeked through a crack in the door. Lanterns bobbed in the streets, carried by two villagers he recognized. Jack's heart sank. One of them was the man who had smiled at him earlier, and he was heading straight to the shed. "They're reporting us," Jack whispered. The girl's eyes widened, fear filling her glowing face. Jack grabbed the crystal from her hands. Its soft blue light pulsed in response. He realized it must be sensitive to danger. Maybe it could warn them. Maybe it could help them escape. He motioned for her to follow. "We move, now." They slipped out the back of the shed, running through narrow alleyways. Villagers shouted behind them, warning the Empire soldiers of their location. The betrayal stung. Jack had hoped humans could be trusted, but the fear of the Empire made even friends into enemies. Through the twisting streets, Jack and the girl ran toward the forest. They reached the tree line, breathing hard, hearts pounding. Behind them, villagers waved lanterns, pointing the way for soldiers who would surely follow. Jack paused for a moment, looking back. The girl clung to him, her glowing skin flickering with fear. He knelt beside her. "It's okay," he said. "We have to trust ourselves. Not everyone can help us, but we will survive." She nodded, hugging him tightly. In that moment, Jack understood something important. Fear made people do strange things, even betray their neighbors. But courage, true courage, was what would keep them alive. The forest welcomed them. Branches scratched at their faces, leaves tangled in their hair, but Jack pushed forward. He knew the Empire would soon be closer. This village betrayal meant one thing: hiding among humans was no longer an option. Jack spotted a small hill with rocks forming a natural barrier. He led the girl there and crouched behind it. From this vantage point, they could see the Empire's patrols moving toward the village, alerted by the very people who had smiled at him that morning. "They won't find us here," Jack whispered. The girl's black eyes met his. Her trust was growing, but fear still lingered. Jack knew one thing for sure: the Empire would not stop, and humanity could not always be trusted. But he would fight to protect this small alien girl, no matter what. As the sun set behind the distant mountains, Jack held the girl close. The crystal in her hands glowed softly, as if comforting them both. Somewhere in the forest, they were alone but together, and that was all that mattered for now. Jack and the alien girl crouched behind the rocks on the hill, watching the patrols move through the forest below. The Empire's soldiers were closer than ever. Their lanterns cut through the twilight, and the rhythmic clink of their armor echoed across the trees. Jack's heart pounded. He knew this was no longer a chase; they were coming for a confrontation. The girl clutched her glowing crystal tightly, pressing it to her chest. Jack could see the fear in her black eyes, but he also saw something else, a spark, a courage that had grown in the last few days. "They'll be here soon," Jack whispered. "Stay behind me." "Do exactly as I say," she nodded. From their vantage point, Jack could see the Empire soldiers moving in formation. They were well-trained, disciplined, and heavily armed. A human hiding in their path would stand no chance. But Jack was not just any human. He had a plan, and he had the girl's unique abilities on his side. Jack took a deep breath. "We need a distraction," he said quietly. He looked at the alien girl. "Can you do it?" She tilted her head, unsure. Jack pointed to the crystal. It had pulsed before when danger approached. "Maybe it could do more. Just like last time," Jack whispered. "Light it up. Make them stop." The girl hesitated, then pressed the crystal forward. Its soft blue glow expanded, pulsing rhythmically, casting shadows across the hill. The soldiers below froze. Their lanterns flickered as the light from the crystal touched them. "What is that?" one of them muttered. Jack seized the moment. He grabbed a large branch and tossed it down the slope. It hit the rocks with a loud crash. The soldiers spun, shouting orders. Some ran toward the noise, while others tried to approach the hill, unsure of what they saw. "Go!" Jack shouted to the girl. They ran along a narrow path that wound around the hill. Branches tore at their clothes, and rocks slipped beneath their feet, but they moved faster than the soldiers could keep up. Then, a shot rang out. Jack ducked, feeling the air whistle past him. He could see the glint of metal as a soldier fired from below. The girl screamed and pressed herself against him. "Keep moving," Jack yelled. He grabbed her hand and ran toward the forest, deeper into the unknown. The soldiers' lanterns bobbed in the distance, but the forest was thick. Jack knew the trees would hide them if they could just reach a safe spot. The girl's crystal glowed brighter with every step, as if sensing their danger and warning them where to go. Suddenly, a branch snapped under Jack's foot. He cursed silently. The girl's eyes widened. Soldiers had heard it. They were closing in fast. Jack spotted a narrow creek cutting through the forest. The water was shallow but fast. "Into the water!" he shouted. They plunged in, letting the current carry them a short distance. The soldiers hesitated at the edge, unsure if they should follow. Jack looked back. Some had stopped, confused by the glowing crystal and the flowing water. They ran on the opposite bank, finally reaching a small cave hidden by ferns. Jack led the girl inside and pressed himself against the wall. Both of them were breathing heavily. Jack's clothes were soaked, mud clinging to his boots. The girl's glowing skin dimmed slightly as she leaned against him, exhausted but safe for now. Jack's mind raced. The Empire was relentless. They would come again, stronger, with more soldiers. The village betrayal had already shown him that humans could not always be trusted. Now the girl's life depended entirely on him. He knelt beside her. "We made it this time," he whispered. "But they'll be back. We have to be ready." The girl touched his arm gently, as if to reassure him that she trusted him. Jack nodded. He realized something important. The crystal was more than just a light. It was a symbol of hope. Together, human and alien, they could face the Empire, no matter how powerful it seemed. Outside, the forest was silent again. The Empire soldiers had retreated for now, but Jack knew this was temporary. The Empire would not give up, and neither would he. Jack stood, looking down at the girl. "Tomorrow, we plan our next move. We'll protect you and find your family." "I promise." The girl smiled faintly, her fear easing for a moment. Jack felt a surge of determination. He had faced danger before, but nothing like this. Now he was not just fighting for himself. He was fighting for a little alien girl who had no one else in the galaxy to protect her. And he would not fail. Dawn crept slowly through the trees, casting long shadows across the forest floor. Jack crouched in the small cave, watching the alien girl sleep. Her breathing was steady, but the memory of last night's chase lingered in his mind. The Empire would not give up. They never did. "We have to move," Jack whispered as she stirred awake. The girl blinked up at him, her black eyes still glowing faintly from the crystal she held. She nodded, understanding without words. Jack led her carefully through the forest, using paths only he knew. Every snap of a twig made them freeze. The air was thick with danger, but they could not stop. They had to keep moving. As they reached a narrow valley, Jack noticed a river cutting through the terrain. Its water was swift, but it was the fastest route out of the forest and away from the Empire soldiers. He crouched beside the alien girl. "Hold my hand tight," he said. "We'll cross together." She wrapped her small fingers around his, clutching the glowing crystal in her other hand. The current was strong, pulling at Jack's legs, but he pressed forward, step by step. The girl's tiny body clung to him as the water rushed past. For a moment, Jack wondered if they would make it, but he pushed the thought away. On the far side, they stumbled onto muddy ground. Both of them were soaked, but they were alive. Jack looked back. Lanterns flickered in the distance, shadows moving through the trees. The Empire had not given up. They were still chasing them. "Keep going," Jack whispered, helping the girl up. "We're almost safe." The forest began to thin as they climbed a hill. Jack could see the valley stretching below a place with large rocks, small caves, and natural cover. If they could reach that area, they could hide until nightfall, and maybe, just maybe, the Empire would lose track of them. But as they descended into the valley, a strange sound stopped them. A low growl, deep and threatening, echoed through the rocks. Jack froze. The girl's glowing skin brightened as she sensed the danger. Out of the shadows stepped a large creature. Its fur was dark, eyes shining in the morning light, claws digging into the earth. It was not like any animal Jack had ever seen. It was wild, powerful, and territorial. "Stay behind me," Jack whispered, stepping in front of the girl. The creature snarled, circling them. Jack realized it might attack if they moved closer. The girl held up the crystal. A pulse of soft blue light spread outward, illuminating the valley. The creature hesitated, growling, but did not attack. Jack saw his chance. "Run!" he shouted. They sprinted past the creature, zigzagging between rocks and bushes. The alien girl clutched the crystal tightly, and Jack noticed it seemed to guide them, pulsing brighter whenever the path was safe. Behind them, the sound of the Empire's soldiers grew louder. They had tracked them into the valley. Jack knew they could not outrun them forever. They needed a plan. Ahead, he spotted a hidden cave at the base of a cliff. It was dark and narrow, but it would be perfect for hiding. Jack grabbed the girl's hand and pulled her toward it. Just as they reached the entrance, a soldier appeared on the ridge above, raising a weapon. Jack pushed the girl inside the cave, just as the soldier fired. The shot missed, hitting the rock wall with a loud clang. The girl cried out, but Jack covered her with his body, holding her close. "Shh, it's okay," Jack whispered. "You're safe now." Inside the cave, they huddled together, catching their breath. The crystal's glow dimmed, casting soft light on the walls. Jack looked at the girl. Her black eyes were wide, but her trust in him had grown stronger. "We're safe for now," Jack said. "But we can't stay here forever. The Empire will come back, and next time they'll be stronger." The girl nodded, resting her head against him. Jack realized something important. Survival was not just about hiding. It was about courage, trust, and using every advantage they had, even if it was a small glowing crystal in the hands of a tiny alien girl. Outside, the valley was quiet again, but Jack knew it was only a matter of time before the Empire returned. He tightened his grip on the girl's hand. They had escaped for now, but the journey was far from over. And together, they would face whatever dangers the Empire sent next. The night was cold, and the stars glimmered faintly over the valley. Jack crouched at the cave's entrance, watching the flickering lights of the Empire soldiers in the distance. They had tracked them again, but Jack was ready this time. The alien girl clutched her crystal tightly, her small body trembling but determined. "We have one chance," Jack whispered. "We can't run anymore. Tonight we fight. Are you ready?" The girl nodded, her black eyes shining with trust. She had learned to rely on him, and he on her. Together, they had survived impossible chases, hidden from the Empire, and crossed dangerous rivers and forests. Now it was time to end this. Jack surveyed the valley. The soldiers were advancing carefully, thinking the cave was empty. They had no idea the small alien child and one human could outsmart them. Jack had made a plan. Use the terrain, the crystal, and their courage to turn the Empire's own fear against them. He whispered instructions to the girl. "When I say now, show them the crystal, make it shine bright. Don't stop, no matter what happens." She nodded, gripping the glowing crystal with both hands. Jack smiled faintly. The tiny alien girl had grown brave, stronger than he had ever imagined. The soldiers crept closer. Jack counted silently. 1, 2, 3 steps away from the cave entrance. Then he leapt forward, shouting, "Now!" The girl lifted the crystal high. A pulse of brilliant blue light exploded across the valley, reflecting off the rocks and trees. The soldiers froze, blinking at the strange glow. Some stumbled back, unsure what they were seeing. Others lowered their weapons, their fear growing. Jack ran from the cave, using the rocks as cover. He threw small stones to distract the soldiers, sending them in different directions. The girl followed, moving quickly and carefully. The crystal pulsed with every step, almost guiding them through the rocks. A soldier fired, but Jack ducked behind a boulder. Another shot hit the ground near the girl, but she remained calm, focusing on the crystal. Jack realized the light confused the soldiers. It made them hesitant, slowed their movements. It was their chance. "Keep going," Jack shouted. They dashed toward the forest at the valley's edge. The soldiers chased, but the crystal's glow continued to disorient them. Jack and the girl moved faster, zigzagging through trees and underbrush, disappearing into the night. Suddenly Jack stopped. Ahead, the Empire's commander waited, a tall figure in black armor, weapon ready. The commander's eyes glinted in the light of the crystal. "You cannot escape," the commander said. "Give me the girl, human. Your life is meaningless." Jack stood tall. "I don't think so," he replied. His voice was calm, steady. He had faced fear before, and he would not back down now. "She is not yours. And I will protect her." The girl lifted the crystal. Its light pulsed stronger, brighter, almost like a heartbeat. The commander hesitated, confused by the alien energy. Jack charged forward, using speed and unpredictability to dodge the commander's attacks. The commander swung a weapon, but Jack ducked and rolled, leading the girl behind him. Suddenly, the girl spoke in his language a few words, trembling but clear. "Go, now." Jack grabbed her hand. Together, they ran toward the river nearby. The commander followed, but the crystal's glow became blinding, reflecting in the water. The Empire soldiers stumbled, falling into the fast current. Jack and the girl did not stop. They crossed the river, letting the current carry them safely to the other side. When they reached the forest on the far bank, Jack looked back. The commander was gone, defeated for now, humiliated by the courage and cleverness of one human and a tiny alien child. The Empire would not forget, but Jack knew they had won this battle. The girl hugged him tightly. "Thank you," she whispered. Her crystal's glow softened, warm and comforting. Jack smiled, feeling a rare warmth in his chest. "You did all the hard work," Jack said. "Brave and smart. You helped me save yourself. And maybe even your family." Somewhere in the distance, the girl's family waited, safe. Jack knew it would take time to reunite them, but this night had proven something incredible. Courage, trust, and cleverness could defeat even the strongest power. Jack and the alien girl walked together through the forest, side by side. The stars shone above them. The Empire was powerful, yes, but they had underestimated one human's heart, one child's courage, and the bond between them. Tonight, they were free. And tomorrow, the adventure would continue.